So it feels good to be back home. We had a pretty uh, tumultuous, heartwarming, um, surreal, somber, sad, uplifting bunch of days coming back from the person's passing who I've mentioned along the way. And um, so much goes on in the dynamics of people getting together anytime, and certainly during somber occasions. When I last left off, I was speaking about how in my day job, I've been involved as a collaborator and maybe a referee during hundreds of meetings between parties and people and companies and teams. And the main thing that I wanted to get across then, and I hope I did the other day, but it bears repeating, is that everybody wants to be heard. You want to be heard. I want to be heard. Everybody wants to be heard. And leadership understands that, and leadership helps make it happen. And really, anybody can lead. Anybody can help make it happen. Every single person in every single meeting, again, whether you're sitting around after somebody passes away or in a corporate setting or a team room meeting or whatever it is, everybody has an opportunity to make sure that everybody has an opportunity to speak and connect and so forth and so on. So if you are a part of something like that, any sort of group dynamic, it could be at your family dinner table, right? That doesn't matter. Make sure that you are aware that everybody wants to be heard. Sometimes it takes some prodding, of course, but ask and say, just tell us one story. And when somebody is speaking, summarize it when they're done. I think it's called something like looping. And you go back, and if you understood it, kind of repeat it. So, what you're trying to say is this. Or am I right by saying that you're trying to say that? I really want to understand. And if I'm wrong, please explain it to me. So these tools are so important, and this is how harmony is built. And without it, you will just drive wedges. It may seem subtle at first, right? You may never notice it. But again, everybody wants to be heard. You want to be heard. I want to be heard. So make sure that you allow people, you give people the forum and the opportunity to do that, because connection begins in conversation. And one more time, I'm the anti-AI guy because I'm afraid, that with social media tools and texting and all these things, that we're going to get further and further away from connecting one-on-one and with one another. Everybody has an agenda. I was reading a gentleman named Charles Duhigg the other day talking about oh gosh, I just forgot the name of his book, but he says there are many different sorts of conversations, several really. There's a practical conversation, and it can just be how to figure stuff out. Anything from where should we have dinner tonight to um, how how an offspring is growing up, or what maybe some of their past should be, and we're just having these sorts of conversations. Or in many ways, we just came, like I said, from the memorial services, and a lot of our conversation was about getting older, right? Which is what is that expression? It's a privilege denied to many. So they're practical conversations, and that's one sort of conversational bucket. There's emotional conversations. People really just want to say how they feel. And in many ways, they're not looking for advice. They just want to talk about how they feel. And again, it's very helpful to ask them, did it start here? Did it start there? Or what have you done? Not give advice when people are emoting. Just listen, and again, let them know they're heard. And there's social conversations. We sat in a room the other day, and I didn't know some of the people. They came from another part of the family, and you talk about who you are, and listen to who they are, and all the while trying to feed back and make sure that they know you're listening, not just nodding your head and then talk about me. Um, I'll talk about a couple of other sorts of conversations tomorrow, but again, whether it's practical, emotional, or social, some of these conversations overlap. So it's incumbent on you, every single one of us as a leader, to also listen to understand what sort of conversation you're in. And it's subtle and it takes time. Again, some people just want a hug versus advice. So knowing the one you're in and responding, I talked before about reacting versus responding. Responding accordingly will really, really help connection. So look, if connection doesn't matter to you, shut me off. I actually don't care. You have your own life, I have mine. Connection, as I've said a zillion times, matters to me more than any other single thing in my life. It matters to me with my family, my extended family, my peer group, of course, my clients and so forth. It matters to me. Maybe it doesn't matter to you. So shut me off. You don't need to listen to me, of course, anymore. That's a choice too. But along the way, just remember, you can lead, you should lead. And you can lead by listening and feeding back and getting the sort of conversation that you're involved in, and then helping to facilitate it along the way, however the person who's speaking needs it to be done, which again, one more time, could just be listening. So that's it for today. If I ran on a little bit, I do apologize. It's been a whirlwind of time, but I was so appreciative of it. And it also helps me share these stories with you about connection. So stay safe, everybody. I hope you're all well.